In today's episode, we'll show you how to step into your pride with confidence. Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. The podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. By the end of this episode, you'll discover how embracing your identity builds deeper self respect and confidence. Why authenticity is the foundation of real pride, not just acceptance. How community and safe spaces can transform the way you see yourself. Today's conversation is about learning how to fully embrace your identity, strengthen your self-respect, and step into your pride with confidence. Hello again, I am Stef and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self-love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQI plus spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone. And this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our experiences. In this podcast, you will hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I will share my journey, and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today, I sit down with Kimberly Hadley, a global LGBTQ plus sports advocate and community leader, to explore how embracing your identity shapes your self respect and ability to live with pride. Kimberly, thank you so much for being here with us today and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
Thank you.
You mentioned that attending the 2006 Out Games in Montreal was a turning point for you. Can you take us back to that moment and tell us what you felt when you first realized that there was a global LGBTQ plus sports community?
Well, I'm going to take you back as to how I found out about this event in Montreal to begin with. At the World Masters Games, my partner and I were going down to the registration event at the convention center in Edmonton in 2005. And while we were mingling around all the different tables and talking with people and stuff, there was a small table off to the side with a bunch of pamphlets on it. So, of course, I'm curious. I go wandering over there and had a look at the pamphlets, and I picked one up, and it was talking about the Out Games in Montreal. And I was quite intrigued because I'd never heard of it. I knew of the gay games coming from Vancouver many years ago. So I was intrigued by what this was all about. So fast forward one more year, 2006, we decided to attend the Out Games in Montreal, and I went to referee as the sport of soccer, so football to the normal people of the world. So, so anyways, we went to the event. We spent 17 days in Montreal, and it was the most unbelievable time. Let's just say, walking down St. Catharines, for those people that know Montreal, old Montreal, we were the majority. Everybody was holding hands and arms around each other, and it was such a welcoming and lovely environment. And because we had that opportunity to experience that, we just embraced that, and we've been attending different games and different LGBTQ plus events around the world ever since. And, of course, we've grown within the community and ended up with family members, people that were truly family to us. And it's almost like a homecoming every time you go to an event now. So you always wonder who you're going to run into. And, it was just really special to know that, first of all, I knew Vancouver was gay friendly. Edmonton, not so much, but it's getting there. It's much better than it was when I first moved here.
Yep.
But to know that Montreal was so gay friendly and was hosting an event like this was unbelievable. And like I said, never turned back from that moment. We've been attending as many and events around the world and really embracing it.
Well, we're going to be meeting, I think, for the first time really in Valencia.
Yeah.
And I can't wait because it has been too long. The same
Yes.
thing for me, like I did the gay games in New York in 94. What an incredible experience. It
Hmm.
was one of the best moments of my life. And yeah, I was in Montreal too. So yeah, it was great to see the city all packed with people like us. And it was a wonderful event. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the I think the most memorable event for anybody to experience at one of these, whether was the out games in this particular case, the gay games is who I'm involved with now and have been for many years. Walking into the stadium for the first time and being celebrated by not just ourselves, but people in the stands, our family members, our friends, local politicians, whoever happens to be there. But just that moment of walking in is something special. It really is. It's not something you ever forget.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. And I can't wait to live that again. And then I'm going to have my husband and my son with me this time. We're all going to
Exciting.
enter together in the opening ceremony. So I can't wait for that.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Can't wait to meet you guys.
You said that being out allowed people to see your authentic self. How did living openly change the way you respected yourself and the way others respected you?
To me, if you're not living your authentic life, others will never really get a chance to get to know you. So this also means that you don't have the ability to really get to know yourself because you're always hiding parts of you. And it's unfair to yourself, it's unfair to others. To me, what I would consider that to be is almost like you've heard the expression living a lie or not
Mm.
being authentic about who you are, like keeping a secret. And secrets, growing up as a kid, if you had a secret or people perceive that to be something bad or something, there's something wrong with it. So to hide something of yourself or parts of yourself, it really makes it difficult for other people to trust who you are and what you're all about. And I think, living out avoids or helps to avoid keeping that secret and shows people that you are proud of who you really are. This turns into a deep respect for yourself and allows for others to respect you as a strong human being, especially in the society that we live in today.
Mhm.
It doesn't always turn out that way because some people hide behind religion or are people that have or are hiding something themselves. But for the most part, good people will love and respect you just for being comfortable and honest about yourself.
Yeah, and then you end up having people around you that love you for who you are truly, not in a fake way or in like an acting way. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You grew up in an environment where prejudice and racism were present in your own family. How did that experience shape the kind of person and advocate you became today?
Well, growing up in Vancouver, I was born in 1965. Obviously, I didn't know who I was until later in my teen years, or at least now I look back on things, different moments in my life that maybe helped shape who I am today. But growing up in Vancouver with a mother who was what I would consider to be entitled, but even worse, she was a racist and a bigot, and it was a very difficult time for me to understand or forgive her. Her being an immigrant to Canada, she was born and raised in Germany during the war. She emigrated to Canada when she was 18 years old. Yet she looked around and she held herself higher than everybody else around her, and she hated immigrants, especially those that didn't look like her. So, I attribute that to her being Caucasian, of course. So I think there was a level of entitlement there somehow, but I never understood it because, if anybody should understand what it's like to be an immigrant, she should have known that. So it made me have a difficulty with understanding prejudice. And,
Mhm.
again, growing up in Vancouver, I had friends of all kinds of ethnicities. And, I think back to high school now, I'm flipping through a yearbook and I didn't see race and color so much in those days. I just saw my friends and we hung out, and I had nerdy Asian friends, and I had, every color under the rainbow basically, as far as people I hung out with and did sports with, and I just didn't really see color in those days. And I don't really see it now, but at the same time I see challenges that they're facing because other people do see their colors.
Mhm.
And that's too bad. I had friends from all walks of life, and knowing that she hated our closest neighbors just because of their ethnicity, I knew that she wouldn't respond positively in my journey because she was so prejudiced against others. And I wasn't wrong. So I believe in ultimately it made me stronger personally, and it allowed me the strength to be stronger for others,
Mhm.
especially those from vulnerable communities. My voice has only gotten stronger and louder over the years just because of the fact that I was disowned by my family who didn't deserve me, and I
Mhm.
didn't deserve to be treated like that in any way, shape, or form. So my voice, like I said, has gotten louder and stronger for others because everybody needs a hand. And I think coming from a privileged white cisgender, I'll leave it at that because females don't quite sit on the top of the list, right?
Right now, especially
Right.
right now, like,
Yeah. So sitting there, at least I can use some of my privilege
mm,
to raise awareness to others about vulnerable communities, and immigration is a big one for me, and the trans community, trans and non-binary. And there's a real sticking point for me right now with how society is and how government is starting to really take rights away, including here in Alberta. So if we think we're okay in Canada, we're not so much when you've got somebody that wants to stomp on trans kids and
mhm.
take rights away. So
There's so much that you just said that I'm kind of burning, trying not to erupt inside because there's so much as you just said that is so interesting. But especially when, like you were just talking about your mother,
mhm,
that's something that for me that is also really hard to understand when you come. I mean, I see things on social media too. Like I will see people from color, being with like the US president right now and supporting that. And I'm like, it's so hard for me to understand how can you, knowing that your own people, the way they're being treated, and you accept that is like such a betrayal that I really don't understand. And it's hard to see that. And then the second thing about being a white cis person, which is to me like I can't believe we have to say that
yeah.
to even say like we can then feel safer to help others. Like it shouldn't be, of course it shouldn't be like that, but there's not a better time, I think, exactly like for everybody and for us to do something about it and speak out because it is quite scary, but at the same time I think it's reuniting a lot of all of us and waking people up to see what's going on and say, oh, we're never safe, and we're never going to be safe. We're always going to have to advocate and do and speak out because you never know what's going to happen next.
Even outside of our community, when you talk about women's rights in the
Yeah.
United States right now, who would have ever thought in a
No.
million years that Roe v. Wade would have been reversed? Who could have even put that thought through their head that this would have happened?
Mhm.
So, none of us are safe, but especially within our community itself. I still I find, I can live quite freely here. I surround myself with people that accept me, don't tolerate me. I don't want to be tolerated. I
Mhm.
refuse to be tolerated. Although I do understand that in some countries where perhaps toleration becomes a stepping stone to acceptance, that was what it was here in Canada many, many years ago growing up. But at the same time, I feel that there's a need for us to continue to step up for others. And
Yeah.
I think back to, and this is kind of gonna, well, I've already dated myself by telling you when I was born, but I think back to the show All in the Family back in the 70s, and we used to sit in front of the television and watch Archie Bunker blast off on the Jews and on, every racist comment that could have possibly come out of his mouth. And he was being held to account by his son-in-law, Mike. And, the issues that they covered on that show really, really stick in my mind even today because, when you talk about people standing up for others, I think when we see a show like that from the 70s, like All in the Family, and we see that today,
Yeah.
well, kind of, oh my God, he just said that? I can't believe he said that and got away with that, right?
Mhm.
So to me, that tells you that there's growth, there's understanding, there's more acceptance towards these vulnerable communities. So, that show always sticks out in my mind just simply because of that reason. It was a great show. It was funny as hell, but when you think about it, a lot of the issues that they dealt with in the 70s, we're still dealing with them today. It's just if we hear somebody now, we have to be able to call them out on it and
Yeah.
explain, educate. And I don't think enough people are brave enough to do that. And that's too bad. I don't care anymore. I've gotten to the point where, you know, if you don't align with my views, you're done. I'm gone. I'm not going to focus all my efforts on you anymore to try to change your mind. But that's just who I am right now. And
Mhm.
I think because our society has gotten so divided, let's just say, or at least we've got politicians helping to do that and leading the way in doing that. There's so much hatred in the world right now, and trying to hit everybody one at a time and trying to convince them that they have to see both sides. They have to do better themselves. It's too much energy. It's too much
Mm.
energy and it's exhausting. So I'm not going to do that anymore.
Through refereeing soccer around the world and volunteering in LGBTQ plus sports organizations, you've helped create safe spaces for people coming from countries where being LGBTQ plus can be dangerous. What does it mean to you to be part of that change?
Well, soccer or football, like many other sports, hasn't typically been a safe place for many people that are in the LGBTQ plus communities. Especially true for gay men, trans, and non-binary folks, as many actually avoided sports growing up just due to the horrible experiences that they'd had or may have anticipated having in the locker rooms or on the fields themselves. And it's really, really unfortunate. And it's unfortunately for many, they didn't seek out playing sports because of their school years, which is very sad because that's when you grew into really, really strong friendships with people and learned a lot of things along the way. And I'll get into that in a second. But sports should be part of everyone's life, in my opinion. I'm a little bit biased that way, but I think if everybody takes a moment to think about on the surface, it offers physical benefits like improving your cardio, your muscle strength, weight management, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But what you don't see are the intellectual benefits that come along with it, which include, and this is really important for people in society, and especially in our community, is reducing anxiety, depression,
Mhm.
stress, while also increasing your self-esteem. It also teaches you to have really important life skills such as social connection, teamwork, leadership, discipline, commitment. Sports becomes community, in my opinion, a place of being and a place of belonging.
Yeah.
This is key for so many people, especially for those who cannot safely live their lives openly at home for fear or of being persecuted or prosecuted even. We don't think about that, but there's a lot of countries still. I think there's 60 some odd countries in the world where it's illegal to be gay.
Yep.
And, and you can be incarcerated, you can be killed. We don't have that thought process because we don't have that in our own existence here.
Mm.
Again, being cis and white for the most part. But those that don't sit within our little identity experience much, much more of this. So being part of an environment that is a safe space means everything to me. To learn that it might be the first time that it makes them feel at home, welcome, accepted, is very emotional for me because I know that this experience is also felt by not just myself, but others that are on that same playing field on behalf of the people that are doing this for the first time. You can see it in their eyes, you can feel it in their hearts and in their smiles. It's an amazing experience to know that somebody from, you know, perhaps a foreign country that has been brought in on a scholarship
Mm.
and the games because, number one, they don't have the income to get there, and they're supported not just financially when they get to the games themselves. They are supported by the community that they're playing within,
Mm.
and that's not something that they would have had necessarily as an experience back home. So knowing that these folks will experience life as it should helps them grow stronger, prouder, and often those feelings help ignite a fire in them. So when they return home, they help their community by igniting sparks in others to help inspire and motivate them so that they can become their authentic selves. But it's not always a safe environment for them to do so for a variety of reasons. But that's what I like to see come from being involved with sports, especially refereeing, because I've seen it on the fields. I've had so many opportunities to speak with individuals from all over the world that are experiencing this for the first time. And for others, it's the only time they come back maybe every fourth year to a gay games and
Mm.
experience this again and again. And that passion of theirs may only be for that short 9 days that they can live their own authentic life in that city amongst thousands of friends.
Well said. Like everything you said was just quite incredible. And just, I mean, I live, of course, where I am here. I'm lucky. And just to experience that
Mhm.
was incredible for me. So I can't imagine how amazing it has to be for people that can't be safe in their own country. So
Mhm.
congratulations for the work you're doing. It's incredible.
Thank you. As you too. You're doing it every
Ah,
day.
thank you. Well, it's time for me to do it now. If someone listening today is still afraid to fully be themselves, what would you want them to understand about self acceptance and the power of community? I think you kind of talked about it, but if you have more to say, that would be great. It's great to hear you.
Well, the way I look at it is, and it's maybe a little bit more hard nosed than some other people. I usually just kind of shoot right to it. But if you can't accept yourself, you're going to have a hell of a hard time convincing others to accept you.
Mm.
When you're authentically you, you can do anything or be anything. But I look back on how I was treated by my blood family. I knew it was worth coming out and telling them who I really was. The rejection's completely on them and was for them to live with, not
Yep.
me. It made me who I am today, a strong, out, proud lesbian woman. There's so many different ways I identify, and usually those all kind of come maybe 10th or 11th or 12th in the pile of ways that I identify. Um, but like I said, it's made me who I am today, and it helps me support my own community better.
Yep.
If someone has a problem with me being gay, I'm just going to use the gay term just for a general term here. If someone has a problem with me being gay, it's their problem to live with, not mine. It really is. Embrace yourselves, and others will do it as well. The power of community, it becomes your family where you can find like-minded people and share your experiences and feelings, and there's nothing better.
You know what I would add to that? When I look at people that are putting down others or not accepting us or whatever, I look at them and they look so miserable and unhappy. And do I want to stay and be like that? And the answer, of course, is no. So I'd rather learn to love who I am and accept who I am, and I'm not going to let anyone win anymore. So if I can add just what you were saying, I think
Mhm.
You said it beautifully. It's great.
Well, I think what ends up at the end of the day is we're of an older generation, let's just say. If we look back on ourselves when we were 20 ish,
Mm.
we may not have been as strong as we are today. In fact, I know that for a fact.
Oh, me too.
Right? So we have the luxury of a little bit of knowledge or wisdom, if you
Mm.
will. So that in itself helps us be stronger. But for those that are younger growing up, what I think that they don't realize that they have is they have a lot more acceptance from family than maybe our generation did.
Mm.
So, we're moving, we're going up, we're going down, we're going up, going down. But eventually, we really are moving in a positive direction. It's just when you look at everything that's happening in the world today, and I hate talking about it because it's front and center 24/7.
Mhm.
It's too much for all of us to endure from one day to the next when it's this constant barrage of beating down people and picking on people that are different than us for whatever reason, whether it's political or if it's just a hierarchy, I don't know, but it's exhausting. And so for the youth growing up, you've got so much more on your plate than I think that we did. It's different. It's just a different time.
Mhm.
So the way I look at it is there's a lot more supports for you, even though even in Alberta where they're taking away trans rights, for an example, there's a lot more support there than there would have been even 5 years ago because people are talking about it and people are getting to know other people that are either trans or because people are talking about it. These are things that people didn't talk about at all before. So now we are at least having those conversations. So I think going forward, it's a good thing for us to have these conversations and have to battle and fight because we've got more people joining our side all the time
Mhm.
to support you. So I think that that's a positive. And, you have to look for those positives.
Yeah.
There's a
And always,
positive. I always say there's a positive to every negative, and sometimes you have to search search like crazy to find it, but eventually you can find it if you want to.
yeah, and I was going to say, find your own people. There's people like us, and find your own people in your community, and be with them. It helps so much to not feel alone and to feel empowered. So,
Yeah, you're right.
Kimberly, thank you so much. It was great having you on the podcast. And again, congratulations on the work you're doing. It's amazing. And I will finally meet you really soon. And I can't wait. It will be really nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast today. And I really look forward to giving you a big hug when I see you in Valentia,
Yes.
meeting you for in the flesh for the first time. I'll
Yeah.
probably be out at the figure skating event at some point. I'll be hoping to get around to all the different sports. It looks like we're going to be close to 8,000 participants so far in
Wow.
registration. Not sure that it has been announced yet, but don't think we're quite there yet. But there's going to be a lot of people in Valencia, Spain. So I will find you, and
Oh,
if oh, you look for me,
yes,
because
for sure.
yeah, great.
I'll let you go and have your day, the rest of your day. And
Thanks.
thank you so much again. I'll
You're
see you
welcome.
later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
If there's one thing to take away from today's episode, it's this: embracing your identity is the key to building real self respect and confidence. Authenticity isn't just about being accepted by others, it's the foundation of true pride in who you are. And when you surround yourself with the right community and safe spaces, it can completely transform the way you see yourself. So keep showing up as you are, keep honoring your identity, and keep moving forward with pride. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I would love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story, and it has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Reach out and send me an email today. Also, I'm now booking keynote speaking engagements. My talk is From Survival to Self Love, how I finally learned to embrace my LGBTQ identity with pride, and how you can too. Details at togethermovingforwardpodcast.com under speaking. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. Join me every Monday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self love. Wherever you're from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. Before we close with our weekly positive thought, I want to tell you what this one personally means to me, especially with this episode. I am comfortable in my own skin. Listening to Kimberly's story really highlights how powerful it is to truly embrace who you are. Being comfortable in your own skin isn't always easy, especially when fear, rejection, or judgment have been part of your journey. But as we talked about today, that comfort comes from embracing your identity, showing up authentically, and surrounding yourself with people who truly see and support you. It's not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about choosing every day to respect yourself, to be real, and to stand in your truth with pride. So let this be your reminder you deserve to feel at home in who you are. Now is the time to put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. Yes, you and me together, this week, positive thoughts. I am comfortable in my own skin. Yes, I am comfortable in my own skin. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection, to pride, freedom, healing, and love, together moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing this journey of growth and love. I truly appreciate you. See you next week. Ciao. Do you know anyone in the LGBTQ plus community who feels disconnected from their true self, wishing they could embrace their identity with confidence and pride? Share this episode now and help them step into self-love and self-respect so they can truly celebrate who they are with pride, feel empowered, and make a real difference in our community.